Welcome to another segment of the BYU Management Society's Learn from Professionals initiative. Our goal is to provide guidance to young adults that are either exploring various careers or ready to jumpstart a career. Today, we have an opportunity to learn from a seasoned professional in the commercial and multifamily construction industry, Mr. Christopher Phelan. Christopher's journey at CSI Construction started with a high school internship in 2003. After earning a business degree at Arizona State University, he joined the company full-time in 2008. Today, he is a key leader in CSI Construction's executive group. With over 2 decades of commercial and multifamily construction experience, Christopher has managed nearly $1 billion in construction projects. Beyond the construction site, he is an avid golfer and skier. His passion for physical challenges and camaraderie with friends extends to another realm, photography. Behind the lens, he finds joy in capturing events, trips, and activities, creating visual narratives that tell compelling stories. His favorite subjects often include his college sweetheart, now wife, Elaine, and their 2 dogs, Rudy and Willow. From eager intern to vice president, Christopher's dedication, drive, and creativity define his impact at CSI Construction. So Christopher, thank you for your willingness to share your expert advice with our viewers.
Yeah, well, thanks for having me. I look forward to it.
Christopher, what made you decide to pursue a career in the commercial and multifamily construction industry?
Well, CSI Construction is a family business. My dad and his brother took the reins of the company in the early 90s. And I had a privilege of being exposed to the industry, exposed to the people at a very young age. I would be going to the job site with my dad. I would be at the office with my dad. Weekend barbecues. All of the friends that were over were mostly, business associates. So I was just immersed in that early on, and I always looked up to my dad. He was very successful. He's an impressive businessman. So, following in his footsteps was a dream that I think as early as middle school, I kind of knew that this is where I would try and be at some point.
I see. So tell us about your own career path and what's helped you to become so successful in your career.
Well, I did a few summer internships during high school. I went on to college at Arizona State. That was a bit of a struggle. I was ready to jump into the workforce and begging my dad, let me just start now, I can do it. And he was adamant college was important for me. So I went to Arizona State, and as soon as I finished, I moved home and started as a full-time employee in 2008 as a project engineer. It's most roles that we have started as project engineers out of college. So that's where I started. I spent a year assisting project managers and superintendents learning how to build a project. Following year, 2009, I started running projects on my own. There were small projects. And then 2011 was my first real big project. It was a 178 unit apartment complex in Monument, Colorado. You drive by it, close to your house. You drive by it often. So that was a 2-year project. I learned a lot, and I had a really good project team around me. So that job went well, and it transitioned into another big opportunity, which was a 3-year project in Denver, which was the Residences at Kent Place apartment project. And by 2017, I completed several big apartment projects, and we were ready to, the company was growing, so we had a chance to create a new level of employees, and several of our project managers, including myself, became project executives. And then we took some younger, less experienced individuals and they became PMs, and now our 4 project managers were execs with a layer of 12 PMs under us, and the company grew, and it allowed me to move up. So 2018 to 2022, I worked as a project exec, and then in the last year and a half, I've kind of taken on a larger role of helping Gabe Godwin, our company president, take some of the pressure off of his shoulders. He works super hard, and there's only so much time in the day. So being able to take some pressure off of him and help oversee globally the company, including our other offices, has been a challenge, but a unique opportunity for me.
So tell us about your current position in CSI Construction's executive group. What are your responsibilities?
Basically, anything that needs to get done, I'm willing to get done. If something needs attention, I'm there to jump on it. But really, it's mentoring our project managers, being available to the project managers when they have questions or concerns, interfacing with ownership during difficult times. If a project has issues and an owner is upset, being able to be the intermediary between our project team and that owner is super important, because we want our teams to not be stressed out. When they're stressed out, they're not functioning at a high level. So taking some of that burden away from them and the hard conversation, stepping in and working with owners to make sure that they're not riding our project teams too much. And then also, just maintaining positive relationships with owners. Sometimes construction crews on site tend to be a little bit rough around the edges, and having a presence there on site to make sure that what our older superintendents are trying to convey is conveyed properly to owners. The other thing that's been new is implementing processes and procedures so that our company as a whole can be more congruent. We've got 5 different offices, each of them operating somewhat differently. So trying to get a more holistic approach and make sure that each office is doing things the same way has been, in the last 6 months, one of my high priorities.
I see. Wow. It sounds like you have a very busy job. So a lot of executives that we talk to, their careers have had highs and lows. Has your career been on a continual upward path, or have you had to at times overcome significant obstacles?
Well, as far as upward mobility, yes, it's obviously started as a project engineer to a project manager, project exec, and now recently vice president. When I first started, we had project managers and superintendents on site, and then we had a vice president in the office. So there wasn't a whole lot of mobility. There weren't a whole lot of positions. But as the company's grown, as the industry's evolved, I've been able to take advantage of the company's growth and move up in the ranks. And as positions are created, I've been able to step into those roles. So it's been unique. As far as obstacles, yeah, every day we're running into obstacles, it seems like. One of my unique characteristics, and I'm always trying to preach this to my teams, is that every obstacle is an opportunity. When we approach difficult situations, the easiest way to look at it is if we're able to solve it and overcome that obstacle, the owners, the people we work with are going to see that, and they're going to respect that, and it's going to say, hey, that's the guy I want on my next project, because when there's problems, they're going to be able to solve it. So that's a simple way, but sometimes in our business, opportunities, struggles means a change order, and potentially as the contracts get bigger, we make more money. So it's tough dealing with problems, but at the same time, if you have a positive outlook, I think they're easier to deal with.
So you mentioned that maybe one of the entry points for you would be a project manager. Is that correct?
So the entry point for a recent college graduate would be a project engineer.
Project engineer.
Essentially, okay. The intermediate, we have a project manager runs the administrative side of things, and the superintendent runs the day-to-day construction activities. The project engineer is kind of in between those, assistant to both of them, and he's getting experience, or she's getting experience from both of those individuals. And they can kind of decide like which route they want to go, field construction or office management. And that's usually a 1 to 3 year position. And hopefully at 3 years, they're moving into one of those other roles in the company.
So are you finding that there's a surplus of individuals or a shortage of qualified individuals that are available to fill these positions and help CSI Construction to expand?
There's definitely not a surplus. This industry, I think, like many others, finding quality talent is difficult. So we're actively recruiting at local colleges, even talking with high schoolers. I think you've sent me a few people out of high school that I've kind of talked with and shadowed and tried to convince them to join our industry. Not specifically our company, but just our industry in general needs the talent. So there's a lot of opportunity there, and we're always striving for new talent, whether it's seasoned veterans that are in the industry that want to make a company change, or someone in the healthcare industry that doesn't like healthcare and wants to come to our industry. If they're talented, we're open to working with people that want to work hard.
So that leads me to my next question. So I imagine that your industry's leaders come with diverse backgrounds and education. You mentioned healthcare. When you're considering new hires for your company, what types of backgrounds and education and other qualifications do you prefer?
Well, as we kind of went over, I think hiring out of a construction management college, CSU has a great program. ASU, Arizona State, has a great program. That's the first spot that we're looking. The second is people with relevant work experience. So if someone comes out of school and they have no interest in going to college, or they're not really into schoolwork, but they are hands-on, motivated individual that wants to work hard, and they go straight into the field and start as a foreman or a laborer for a plumber, and they just they show that they're capable and they like to solve problems and work hard. They typically work their way up, and we have several individuals in our company that are executives that managing all of our field operations that did not go to high, or maybe not even graduated high school. We, at one point when I first started, our vice president of Colorado had a GED. He just had been in the industry so long. So work experience is and work ethic can overcome deficiencies in education. But the other thing is we're looking for people who have experience that we don't have. So if someone's done a skyscraper and we've got a local client that wants to do a skyscraper in Phoenix, we'd be actively pursuing people that have that on their resume.
I see. Interesting. Well, so in addition to one's formal education, are there other certifications or advanced learning that's helpful to become successful in management within the commercial and multifamily construction industry?
So the bare minimum for nearly every construction professional is OSHA training for safety. Construction's inherently a dangerous occupation. So 10-hour OSHA training is the bare minimum, and we provide that if you don't have it. We'd like to see everyone have a 40-hour certification. There's stormwater prevention, pollution prevention. That's minimum training that we provide for not just our own employees, but everyone that steps on one of our construction job sites. Some of the more motivated project managers, recently I'm seeing them complete their project management professional certificate, the PMP program. And just like maybe a month ago, one of our project managers, Jessica, she had completed that, and we had an inter-office meeting, and she brought a lot of great ideas that I'd never even thought of or heard of from that training. And then the third thing would be just continuing education. Building codes are always changing. Energy codes are always changing. So working with your local building departments, they're offering classes, free classes and seminars on a quarterly basis about updates to their code, updates to the energy code. We have inspections that need to get hit. So most of our employees, especially the motivated high performers, are taking the initiative to attend those classes themselves. We don't require it, but if they want to succeed and make their lives easier, it's good for them to take part in those.
So, Christopher, as a construction executive, what do you consider to be the most important rewards and challenges of your position?
Well, I think that the most, I mean, it's the same thing. It's the people and dealing with the people around me. It's the most of my best friends in the world are my coworkers. I've grown up with these people. I see them on a daily basis, and for the most part, we're out there having a really good time. We're hanging out, we're joking, we're working together, and I think I personally enjoy working and accomplishing goals. So when I'm doing that with my buddies, it's amazing. But then at the same time, it's a hard career. I mean, work, I think all industries are difficult, but you come across problems and there's stressful times, and seeing, my best friends be stressed out and be on these projects with problems, and maybe we have an owner who's kind of, not great to work with, and they're very hard on our team. Seeing them have to take that is tough for me. And then economic times, sometimes things are booming and we're hiring and wages are going up, and then there's other times where when I first started in the industry, 2007, 2008, it was a terrible time for construction, and I was watching people that I grew up with struggle to find work, not just in our company, but the electricians that we work with. Those are my friends. We go hunting, we go camping together, and when they're struggling and they're laying off employees, they're stressed out. So the personal relationships are a huge benefit, and that's what I do this for, because I love people and I love the people I'm around. But then seeing them struggle or hard times is tough.
Christopher, what do you consider to be the characteristics of the most successful leaders in your industry?
So I think all of our best project managers and leaders internally, and probably with other companies, is they're able to get the most out of the people around them in a respectful manner, and all of them do it differently. Some of the guys are boots on the ground, get their hands dirty, lead by example. They're out there in the field, promoting hard work. And then you've got, other individuals who might be older and don't have the energy to be out there like work, doing back-breaking work, but they're super knowledgeable, and they're able to share their knowledge and teach and cultivate, young people. And that's a different aspect, but they earn the respect, and the people around them enjoy working for them. And then you have the third type that's disciplined and structured, but they're able to communicate and hold people accountable in a respectful way. And I think that's changed since I started, because early on it was a lot of yelling and screaming and demanding, and I don't think that it was a healthy way for long term. I think it got stuff done in short projects and in the near future, but trying to maintain 2-year relationships with someone doesn't work if you're combative. So being able to get production out of people around you without alienating or offending them.
I think that's really important. So, Christopher, can you tell us about trends that are impacting the commercial and multifamily construction industry now?
So I think the first one, the most obvious one, is technology. We've got all kinds of softwares and artificial intelligence. We're able to record a lot of our meetings are held online now, which is new in the last 4 years, and we're able to record those meetings. And then after the meeting, rather than having someone in the room trying to take notes that are somewhat rudimentary, we've got a full online documentation of it, and we can ask Dropbox, hey, who asked about the schedule during the meeting, and they'll pull up that section of the meeting, and we can quickly, review that.
Mhm.
It's also making our teams, project managers, much more efficient. So, what their workload looks like is different. They can get a lot more done in a short amount of time. So then, okay, well, we don't want you I don't think they want to be, or we don't want them sitting around kind of twiddling their thumbs. So shifting their amount of attention from the office side of things to being out in the field more and working on, construction problems and solutions in the field. So it's kind of changing our roles. The next one would be the shrinking labor force, which is offset with the technology. So as the labor force gets harder and harder to find people that are willing to go out there and do the work, we're trying to figure out how do we take these new technologies and become more efficient so that we can do more with less people. And then the third one, the biggest one, is the green movement, EV charging, indoor air quality. Some of these things are super difficult to implement. Some of them are very important. Indoor air quality, fresh air, efficient buildings, utilizing the resources we have as productive as possible is important. But then again, it's like you got cities, Denver wants all electric charging in all these buildings, but we don't have the power. So we've got, we got buildings sitting there waiting for power to support, how they're being designed. So it's a learning curve for all of us. It's a learning curve for the suppliers. It's a learning curve, for other countries who are sending us the electrical equipment, and how do they build it to meet our new demands.
So Christopher, you've been very gracious with your time before. What advice would you give to someone that is interested in exploring a career in your industry? Maybe they're not settled on that career yet, but they just want to explore that. What advice would you give them for moving forward with that?
But I think the easiest thing to do is just get on Google and I think you can Google like construction career days in almost every area. Colorado Springs, Denver, they have some type of construction career day that especially high schoolers and young adults can attend. You learn how, you can drive a piece of equipment. You can learn how we kind of do some spreadsheets and estimating. Our individual people in CSI volunteer at several different ones across the country. And then the other option is, because it is an environment where we need new individuals and talent. You could, reach out to local construction companies and just ask about shadowing or internship opportunities. And I think most, if not all, will be pretty willing to accommodate that request.
Interesting. So now we've gone from exploring a career to ready to jumpstart a career. So maybe you've got that degree in construction management. You want to put it to work. You want to start your career. So what advice would you give someone that is ready to get going with their career? They're looking at different companies. What questions should they be asking to differentiate companies?
Well, so when it comes to picking the company, I would definitely, check out their websites, look at the types of projects that they're building, make sure that, their mission statement aligns with your core values. And then, once you decide which company that's right for you, it's once you get there, being motivated, that's important. Being eager to learn. A lot of times, there's a fine line between motivated and pushing hard, but also realizing that you don't know everything, and you got to take a step back and learn from the guys around you. And then we just finished a bunch of year-end reviews with employees, and the common theme is like everyone that excels and does well, it's because they care about the work that they're producing. So If you're willing to go out there and, someone requests something of you and you do a poor job of completing that task, it's not going to be beneficial for the project, for the people around you, and specifically you. It's noticeable. So, if you're out there and you may not know everything, you may be inexperienced, but if you care about the end result, like we can see the effort, and managers notice that, and those people just are always moving up the ladder, and they're important people on the team, so they're valued.
So, Christopher, one of the things that most impresses me about you is that you seem to have found the magic recipe for having balance in your life. You not only work hard, but you play hard, and you've done a lot of different things with your life. So, what advice would you give to someone that they want to be successful in their occupation, but they also want to have balance in their life?
Well, I'm glad that you noticed that. And I think that in my own life, the driving factor is my wife, because she's always been super healthy, and, growing, like, in my late 20s, I was eating whatever I wanted, and I wasn't taking, I was staying up late on weekends, and I wasn't that healthy. And I was stressed at work, and it was very difficult to, try and maintain the younger college life and eating unhealthy, not going to the gym, and it was taking its toll. But she's eating healthy and fit, and she had a lot more energy than I did. So, around 30, I kind of made a personal lifestyle change to be more healthy and physically fit, and it made a huge difference. And quickly I realized that if I showed up on Monday rested and ready to work, in our industry, construction, it's a rough group of guys, and they like to have fun, and I was outperforming them like crazy Monday mornings. It was noticeable. Like, I'm in there rested, whatever was happening with my health and energy levels was huge. And then it translated to, I was more productive, I was more efficient, and the workload stayed the same, but I was getting it done by Thursday, and all of a sudden Friday was like my spare day to just get other stuff done. And then as work became easier and I was less stressed out, and then all of a sudden my home life and my personal life, I had much more time and energy to devote to that. So I'm a big advocate of physical and mental health. Time is our most valuable resource. It's the one thing that we can't really change, the amount of time we have in a week. So making the most of that time we do have, is really the only way to get as much work done as you can, and then spend time with your family. I think, and I see it with our employees, like, we don't want our employees working 7 days a week or 6 days a week and killing themselves and being stressed out, but we do have an expectation of work getting completed. And when we assign similar amounts of work across 10 different people, and one guy's able to get it done by Thursday and then assist on another project, and then another guy can't get it all done in 7 days, there's something about his productivity and efficiency. So, making sure that those people are being healthy, and talking to them about their health, and providing gym memberships for our employees, and encouraging them to stay healthy. It's something that we've in the last 5 years have really attacked, and I think it's helpful.
So, in the coaching that we do with young adults, one of the concerns that we hear from them a lot is that they want their career to be meaningful. They want to have a productive life. And so you mentioned some things. You said exercise, eat correctly, get rest. But what advice would you give to that young person that says, I want my career to mean something, and I want to be productive in life? What are other things that they can be doing?
Yeah, I think watching others and like looking at other people's experience is important, and knowing where your end goal is and where you want to be, at 50, at 60, at 70, and realizing, regardless of how much money you make or how successful you are, at some point in time, at 35 years old or 45 years old, making a ton of money and retiring to a beach somewhere is not gonna, I don't think, can make you happy. Lots of people, enjoy early success. They go, or an athlete retires, and all of a sudden it's like, hey, I don't have a mission in life anymore. I don't have purpose, and quickly they realize that's not going to make them happy. So they're becoming sports announcers. They're becoming coaches, whatever it is. They continue to challenge themselves, and I think the mind craves purpose, and it enjoys and it thrives on problem solving. So knowing going into this that it's not, you're not going to be happy by being super successful at 35 and retiring, planning to be continuing to challenge yourself throughout your life, even after you retire, and maybe you're running marathons or doing something different. It's just ensuring that you're doing something positive, you're challenging yourself, and whatever you're doing, if it's benefiting you or the people around you, I think it's worth doing.
That's great. So, Christopher, as you take on more and more responsibilities within CSI Construction, I imagine that networking is becoming more and more important to you. So, can you tell me, how do you network? What are some of the things that you do to bring new business to the company and also attract new talent?
So I guess the basic networking structure would be attending, events and organizations, American Contractors Association, building expos, going to seminars. It's like the bare minimum. I think you've got to do that just to get exposure and meet new people. But I think also surrounding yourself with successful people, even if they're not in my industry and they have nothing to offer me as far as, oh, here's a project, we'll hire you. It's being around those people, and there's a saying, tell me who your friends are and I'll tell you who you are. And I think whether it's at the country club or like the local golf course, or participating in athletics, I think you do Krav Maga, and surround yourself with people that are healthy, competitive, and successful, no matter what industry, is going to rub off on you in some way. And you never really know. I think one of our best superintendents, the youngest superintendents, he's 28 right now, and he's just an amazing kid. I worked out with him at a gym when he was 12 years old, and I was like 15 years old, and our dads knew each other. And next thing you know, I ran into his dad 10 years later, and it's like, oh yeah, Kyle's at college, he's going to school for construction management. I'm like, he is? I was like, that's amazing, tell him to give me a call. And then he comes in internships with us. So it's a small world. It's not, what you know, sometimes it's who you know. But the most important thing is just being around other like-minded, successful people. Surround yourself with good people.
Any other career advice that you'd like to offer to young adults?
What I've been thinking about most recently, and part of it came from doing reviews with our employees, and some of them we try to give constructive criticism, and the best individuals, as either we're giving it to them and they're acknowledging, oh yeah, or they already know about the issue, or like how they handle situations, or one of their negative traits, they're already working on it. And then you have the employees that you're struggling with and you're trying to motivate, and they just refuse to accept that they have personality traits that aren't positive, or they're doing something wrong. So I think honest self-assessment and being able to evaluate yourself and take accountability for what you're doing right or wrong. And if you don't notice those things and you don't acknowledge that you're not perfect, then there's no way to evolve and become better. So I think that needs to happen. A structured sit down self-assessment of yourself at minimum once a year, but ideally you're doing it consistently every day a little bit, and then you're sitting down quarterly and, you know, making an effort to really analyze that.
So Christopher, that's great. That's great career advice. So to wrap up, I just want to pose one other question. What advice would you give to young adults? What life advice would you give to them to have success and to have a happy and joyful life?
I think, you know, to have a happy and joyful life, I think the most important thing is to surround yourself with good people, you know, and make sure that you're taking time to spend time with them. And man, that's a tough one. Yeah, I really think it's the personal relationships you have, value those relationships, and, you know, care about those people. I think time goes by quickly, and next thing you know, it's over. So you don't want to have a whole lot of regrets about the people the closest to you.
Okay. Well, thank you, Christopher. To wrap up this video, we'd like to remind our viewers that they can either reach out on their own to seasoned professionals like Christopher to schedule an informational interview, or they can ask for an introduction from a professional to a professional from someone that they know. We encourage you to do informational interviews like what we've done with Christopher today. And if you can watch the video that we have on our website titled Constructing Informational Interviews, that'll give you the to-dos. So thanks again, Christopher. You're an awesome guy, and I appreciate your friendship and all the advice that you've given to the young adults.
All right, Scott, thank you.